Hi guys, it's Pastor Kerry. I'm both a pastor and also a life coach and the author of Beyond Betrayal. And also the author of our course, Principle 1335. And Principle 1335 is a conflict management program for folks that want to have better relationships. And I initially wrote this for the church and Christians in the church, but it really applies to all relationships. The principles that you can glean from this applies to all relationships, both in the workplace and at home and so on. When it comes to seeking resolution, that there are some important steps that we need to consider when we're starting down that path. Now, when we are carrying a hurt or disappointment in a relationship, we need to find ways to begin working those things out. And in this broadcast, we're going to give you some ideas on how to begin those steps in the right direction. And in future broadcasts, we're going to kind of flesh out all of this a little bit further. So let's go ahead and we'll talk about those things. Hello, Karen. It's good to meet with you once again on this topic. So
thank you.
We've been talking about kind of like working through these conflicts. Why do you think it's so hard to do that, by the way? That for people who care about each other, friends or co-workers or people in the family, why is it so hard for us to nurture those relationships and communicate about our hurt in positive ways?
Yeah, probably because our feelings are something that are very close to us, and it's hard to be vulnerable and open up. And also, past experiences have shown us that when we do open up, it doesn't always go the way we think it will go. And
we have this scenario. I tell people that we are always the heroes in our own story. And we have this scenario of how we're going to enter into these things and they're just going to work out. But the fact of the matter is that oftentimes they blow up in our face. But here again, in this course, we're going to be talking about how to manage that. But we have to learn to walk before we can run. And so right now, we're still in the walking stage. I have another short video for us to watch. Let me just go ahead and cue that up if I can find the right button to push. There's so many of them here that sometimes I get a little bit confused. So let's go. Okay. So so anything that you when you were watching that jumped out at you?
Yeah, I mean, it's like this is crazy hard to do because I think our natural inclination is to do all the opposites of the things that are the ones where it said
Yeah.
don't do these, talking to other people, getting their
Mm-hmm.
input,
Mm-hmm.
starting to think it's about that person's character, like, oh, they're just a this or that.
Mm-hmm.
But and pretending that it's not a big deal, not
Yeah.
letting things go, getting resentment, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that's kind of like the almost all the stuff that see in the Bible about how to do relationships is like the opposite of what naturally
Yeah,
tells.
really.
You know, like
Yeah. We need to do the George Costanza approach to relationships. We just do the opposite. That's a cultural reference back to the days of Seinfeld.
yeah,
But
who's
um,
Seinfeld? Just kidding.
yeah, really. So one of the things that I liked in the video there is the whole concept is that if you are the offender, that one of the easiest ways to begin opening up a conversation, if you kind of are getting the vibe that something is
Mhm.
off in the relationship, is just check in with that person and say, hey, I thought I would just check in and see if things are okay between us.
Yeah.
You know, what stops us from checking in with people?
Um, I don't know, because like if you're wrong, then it's like no big deal.
Yeah. Hmm.
And if you're right, I mean, as long as they're going to be honest with you,
Yeah.
uh, if you're right, it can put things, to rest sooner. So I don't know
Hmm.
why it's harder for people to do that than to like talk behind somebody's back or make
Yeah.
assumptions about
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. One of the things that I think is that kind of holds us back from talking or checking in with people is that it does take there again a little bit of initiative on our part,
Hmm.
and sometimes we feel that if a person is giving us negative vibes, well then we start to kind of feel offended ourselves,
Hmm.
and we just kind of get stuck in that space where we had one offense and now we have two, and pretty soon we're going to have the offenses are going to grow exponentially. So
Yeah.
one of the things that I liked from that video is that people pleasers are oftentimes dishonest
Hmm.
about what's going on inside of them, and they probably wouldn't say that it's dishonesty, but when somebody asks if you're hurt,
Hmm.
there's almost like this. We have this maybe either shame about being that quote unquote weak or petty or whatever, and so we kind of gloss it over. No, I'm okay, type of thing.
Yeah.
But I like that passage of scripture that Jesus says that let your yes be yes and your no no. And
Hmm.
if you're hurt, then communicate that hurt. You know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Well, if you're a people pleaser,
mm,
then you're gonna not want to make it like, oh, hey, you did something about that made me upset.
yeah, yeah, hmm,
So,
yeah. And here again, and maybe it's the language because you did something that made me upset. Is that maybe if we just tweaked our language a little bit and
hmm.
said that you did something that I'm having a hard time working through.
Hmm.
Now, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter if yeah, I mean, we have to be careful about our you statements, but it doesn't. We shouldn't. We don't have to always make I statements. You
Hmm.
know, But
Yeah.
you said, you did something that I'm having a hard time working through.
Mm-hmm.
Or you did something, or when you did this or that, is that I was confused and I didn't know how to take that, you
Right.
know. And so,
Yeah.
one of the things that really is important for us when we're dealing with conflict is learning some just minor adjustments that we can make from our side that
Mm-hmm.
are going to diffuse the opportunity for defensiveness.
Yeah.
You know, because it's easy for the other person to feel defensive. Anything
Mm-hmm.
else you picked up from that video?
Let's see. Yeah, I think like the whole sending out signals thing,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
you can't assume that they're getting your signals. I think it's important to be clear when you have something. There's a verse also that it reminded me of is it says, do not let even a root of bitterness grow up in
Mm-hmm.
you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, and I think it's really important that if you find yourself getting bitter or resentful
Mm-hmm.
towards somebody to address, you need to address that or it's almost like cancer. A
Yeah.
little bit of cancer isn't good, but you
No.
let that cancer continue and leave it untreated,
Yeah.
and that's gonna just end up causing you more trouble.
Yeah. Exactly.
And bitterness
No.
is like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like to talk about micro resentments
Hmm.
because the the big resentments that we have that normally, I mean, those are hard to ignore in a relationship,
Hmm.
and those are relationship killers. But every big resentment starts off as a micro resentment, and if we make it a habit of dealing with our micro resentments,
Hmm.
they won't become macro resentments. You know. So, but well, anything else before we wrap this one up that you'd like to comment on?
Hmm. Yeah. Um, Not really. I mean, I think it is important for us to just to make sure we say something
Mm-hmm.
and also try and let things go. Try.
Yeah.
I tell one of my kids has almost lets almost everything slide. The
Mm-hmm.
other one
Almost
takes
less nothing.
every single thing personally,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and and the one that takes things really personally, almost every single thing is like, I've told them several times, try to be like a duck, let the water just slide right off your back, but the less
Yeah.
we can have stick to us, like if
Yeah.
everything sticks to us, it's going to
Mm-hmm.
weigh us down. But
Yeah.
if we can just like kind of let as much as possible slide,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
going to go better for us.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, thanks again for joining me on these broadcasts, Karen. I appreciate spending some time with you. And I'm
Yeah.
going to go ahead and wrap this one up at this time, and then we'll pick up for our next installment. So, well, friends, that I want to remind you that we have a Facebook group, a private Facebook group that where we post all of our content with respect to our Beyond Betrayal program and also these videos, these various broadcasts that we're doing. And so you can join that Facebook group there at beyondbetrayal.org. That's so you go to Facebook and you search for beyondbetrayal.org. Also, I have created this course called Principle 1335, and we're making it available for all of the members in that private Facebook group. we're making that available to them free of charge. Now, if you don't want to get involved with the group, that's fine. You'll find a link in these broadcasts where you can go and check out Principle 1335 for yourself. All 10 lessons of it. There's over 20 videos and different activity sheets and things like that. And so you can subscribe to that if you want. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you spending some time with us. We'll see you next time.